And we're back. This is Everyone Loves Pirates, bringing you a Let's Learn, Let's Play of Crusader Kings 2. Go back to the diplomacy view. And last time, what we looked at was opinion. Why is opinion important? If you didn't see that video, watch it now. If you don't know this, it's very important what people think of you, what affects that, and why. So I'm not going to go over it again. Took a while. Sorry that last episode went up to 33 minutes. Mainly a lot of that was looking in the People Finder to try to replace some of these council members. I promised in this one, at least we will start out looking at claims. And we need to talk more about claims and exactly what they are and what they mean. But one way to look at claims is we can click on a county. And then we can click on that flag of that county. And, if possible, we could click this button and see who has claims on that county. Unfortunately, no one has claims on Kildare. Let's just look at all the Irish counties. So there's someone up here. It's probably better to look at the ones that are closest to us first. But we have a kid in Tyrone's cell. I don't know if he's there or not. He's in Tyrone, so he's not. But he has a claim on this county. County of Tyrone. What is that? Tyrconnell? Tyrannical? Tyrannical. He's tyrannical. Anyways, the game lets us know whether he would come to our court, because a lot of times you might want to press claims that other people have on land that you want. We can click on him and see that claim as well. It's there under diplomacy. We can also click on his main head portrait and see his claims and any current titles he might hold. Our title is listed there, the County of Dublin. We have no other claims. And we can look at each. Ooh, wow, lots of claims on Tyrone. None of these people would come to our court. We could trust this. We could look at them in particular. We could go to diplomacy for them, go to invite to court and see why they wouldn't come to our court. But if you just want a really quick way to just kind of hopefully look around your neighbors and just see people you might be able to snag really easily, you can do this. I'm just going to do them all real quick and see if there is anyone who would be willing to move, just to show you what that's like. Okay, here we go. So, claimants to the petty kingdom of Munster. Claimants to this duchy, this entire duchy. This guy and this guy would come to our court. So we can look at each one of them and see why. Invite to court, well, he's there. And that king can't press his claims. Duke, so he would come and maybe hopefully we would press that claim. And that claim is a strong claim on the Duchy of Munster. This guy also has a strong claim on the Duchy of Munster. Of these guys, this guy's decent diplomacy. I mean, they're not strong anywhere. There's no reason to bring them to my court to press them into service on my council. And there's no reason to bring them into court to try to press their claims somewhere because I couldn't give them land. I could put them in charge somewhere, but it wouldn't help me at all. So I'm not going to worry about that. But it would give us claims, their claims. They would give us claims we could press for them. The other thing, when you click on this realm, we can also from here click on, because we clicked on Thomond, but it gave us the petty kingdom of Munster, this duchy. So we could click on Thomond County here, because these are the counties that are in that duchy. They're listed here. And we can see if anyone had claims just on that county, which they don't. We can do the same for Ormond. We can either click on the duchy again here, or we can just click on the county there. See who has claims. This lady, she would not come to our court. And the last place in Ireland is the County of Desmond. Hey, their court chaplain would come to our court, which is interesting. He's not a great court chaplain, but he's better than our court chaplain. We're both lustful. He would like that, probably. Very interesting. The other thing we can do is we can look at his court just in general And unfortunately, we can't see everyone in his court. But it's kind of interesting that he's that guy's court chaplain. So if we steal him, he has to put someone else in that role. And sometimes it's really nice to steal characters from other people and have them have to replace people on their council. So we could look and see, you know, maybe, oh, it's a pain. It really is. This wouldn't be any better, would it? No. So it's probably not worth our trouble, but, you know, sometimes you might be like, oh, well, if I steal this 10 guy that's on his council, what other options does he have in his court? Who would he have to put in that place? Who's the next best guy? Maybe the next best guy is only a 5, and you've just really hurt his ability, his martial ability, or his steward ability by doing that. Just for fun to show you, I think I will, where was that? County Desmond, claimants. I'll show you how this works. We'll put him as our court chaplain. We'll probably end up replacing him later. But he will come because he likes us. He also likes his liege, but us being able to press his claims outweighs that. This actually comes out to even. 3 pluses, 3 negatives, 2 pluses, 2 negatives. But in the numbers we can't see, it's a little bit in our favor. We don't even have to bribe him. So we'll invite him to court. And it'll say that he's considering an offer from us. That'll take a few days. When we unpause the game, eventually he'll say yes. The other issue was, this is actually, I know that this is a duchy. When we click on this guy, he owns a duchy that actually includes Bryphny over here, but currently doesn't include Bryphny. So he could go to war with Bryphny to get his duchy filled out. But I also want to make sure I checked that, but I didn't check the county. And the county has no claims as well. So there you go. What we can do now for the very first time, ladies and gentlemen, boys and girls, we are going to unpause the game. We can do that with spacebar or just clicking up here. And once again, we can go to, I paused it again. We can go to this guy and we can see 7, 6. It's on slow. We can bump this up the speed. We can bump it up to 2, 4, 3, 2, 1. 2 or 3 is usually where I like to play, depending on what's going on. To the heroic Earl Murchad, blessings upon you and your house. I accept your gracious invitation and will join your court forthwith. Thank you. Don Chad MacCarthach. Man, I should have started somewhere where I could pronounce names. So this guy now lost his court chaplain. We can't see his council. Not that guy. That's the guy that came over. This guy lost his court chaplain. So we can let time run a little bit, and eventually he will probably make someone his court chaplain. And we can just kind of scroll here to see. We see his chancellor. We see his steward. But these are only people that are currently in his court. If he had his chancellor off somewhere doing something, it wouldn't show up in this list. We also check vassals, because oftentimes vassals are also on the council. That's his marshal. His bishop is his marshal. But right now, I don't see anybody. So before I'm paused again, before you really get started though, we've gone over all the stuff you really got to know. I do want to replace my wife as spy master, but I won't do it right now because we already looked and there wasn't really any good options out there. And I don't really need a high intrigue right now either. But the game gives you things that need your attention up here, little icons. We need to pick an ambition and marry an heir. Let's work on ambition first. This is the only way that you can affect your base stats in these categories. So if I want my base diplomacy to be higher, I can do that through an ambition. And we click on ambition here. And let's say if I wanted to improve my diplomacy, I choose the improved diplomacy ambition. And I can choose this because my diplomacy is poor. It's lower than 8. 8 being average. So success, I will have fulfilled this ambition when my diplomacy gets to at least 8. Not my base diplomacy, just my total diplomacy. This will improve my base diplomacy, probably. But I could improve my overall diplomacy some other way possibly, and actually have that succeed. Even if it went down later, then I'd be able to choose it again. It's actually something that you can kind of game a little bit. When I fulfill this ambition, I will gain, the success effect, I will gain 100 prestige. We haven't really talked about prestige yet, but it's quite important. And it's something that we will want to do as quickly as we can without, going to any huge, just crazy means to do so. The other ambitions, we could amass wealth. Once we get to 500 wealth, that would trigger. I believe you can only choose this when you're below a certain amount of wealth. It might actually be 100. So you can't get to 499 and choose amass wealth and then just hit it immediately. We can become a paragon of virtue. Basically, we get our piety up to 500. And then those are the effects that we would get upon doing so. We're not even close to being able to do that. There's our piety. There's our prestige. We can have a daughter. Since we don't currently have a daughter, we only have sons, we can have the ambition to have a daughter. This will stay our ambition until we have a daughter, or until we cancel it. And upon doing so, we would get 10 piety. What it doesn't tell you is by choosing this ambition, it will increase our chance to have a child. Not necessarily a daughter, but any child. Basically, we're trying to have a daughter, so we're going to our wife, and we're getting a little amorous in order to try to have a daughter. We may end up with 50 sons and never get a daughter. And our our fertility would stay high as long as this was our ambition. Higher. I forget the exact bump to fertility, but it's significant. It's over 10%, maybe 20, probably not much higher than that. We can improve our martial ability. We can improve anything because we're low in everything. We're under 8 in everything. And the last one is become King of Ireland. Since we live in Ireland, we have land in Ireland, we can choose this ambition. This ambition cannot be cancelled. We'll get tons of prestige once we become the king, but we'll never be able to choose another ambition. So you don't want to choose this until you're done improving your character if you want to do so. I'm going to choose either diplomacy or learning because it'll get there quickly, and then I can choose something else and I'll get that prestige that I want. Diplomacy is more important than learning. Learning's closer. For me, it's kind of a toss-up. There would be actual reason why I would hold off on diplomacy right now if I wanted to game the system a little bit. But for now, we'll just choose diplomacy. Okay. Now, we have an unmarried heir. It is our son. Our son is our heir. Now let's talk a little bit about succession, because we have to eventually, and we'll do it now. Our laws here state that we are agnatic, cognatic, gavelkind. What does that mean? Well, let's mouse over. The titles of the ruler are divided amongst his children, with the oldest getting the primary title. That's what gavelkind means. If the ruler has no children who can inherit, the law defaults to primogeniture. Primogeniture, we can go here, the oldest child of the ruler inherits all titles. Your successor will like the law, but other members will not. Where are we? You get no prestige penalty for having unlanded sons. We don't have to give our sons land. It won't hurt our prestige. And we can have a 30% larger domain, which is what we saw over here, plus 30%. Unfortunately, that doesn't help because basically, without that, our level is 3. 30% of 3 is not even 1. Gavelkind is very popular with everyone except the oldest child because he will get less land that way should there be more land. He'll have to split it with his brothers. And destruction of titles while under Gavelkind succession is not allowed. Women can inherit, but only if there are no eligible males. That last part is what agnatic cognatic means. So agnatic, as you see here, only males can inherit. Absolute cognatic means that women will inherit on the same grounds that men do. You have to be Basque or Cathar to have absolute cognatic. But agnatic cognatic is very common, and it just means that if you have no sons, your daughter will inherit. You won't lose your land. So there you go. The other succession laws besides Gavelkind are seniority. The oldest member, so like our brother, could inherit our title, the oldest member of the dynasty, or if we died before our father could inherit it. Primogeniture, which we talked about, the oldest child of ours would inherit. And then elective monarchy. You and your vassals dukes if you're a king, or counts if you're a duke, would vote on who would get the land when you die. This is kind of cool. If you have a lot of sons like me and you don't want your land split up, sure, you could change the primogeniture, but your other sons are going to hate your gods. But let's say you don't like this guy. Your main son, primogeniture, it would always be your oldest son. I mean, he's not particularly good. He's slothful, which is a horrible trait to have. People don't like slothful people, and it takes everything down by one. And he's craven, which is a horrible trait to have if you're ever going to be in battles. It hurts a lot of stuff. What if this guy had better stats? Or this guy. This guy actually does have fairly good stats, except for being gluttonous. People aren't attracted to gluttony. It hurts your stewardship. But let's say we got him a really good guardian, and he ended up being a really good character. Maybe we want our youngest son to be the ruler. Really, the only way to do that, besides trying to get our other sons killed, which is difficult to do, is just make an elective monarchy, vote for him. As long as our vassals also liked us enough to vote the same way we voted, and we picked someone who they would like, they just didn't hate, they would vote for him as well. And we'd be able to skip our other sons without them really hating us too much for it. It's their fault they can't get elected. So that's what the laws are. Now the important thing is, like I said before, you do play as your dynasty. And we want to make sure that our dynasty carries on. Even if we change to a different succession, we do want him married and we do want him to have kids. Just so we have more members to choose from. Because if our dynasty gets wiped out, game over. So we want to get him married. And it gives us a good excuse to talk about marriage. What do you look for in a wife? For yourself or for your sons? Or a husband for your daughters? What you're looking for, base stats, because they're going to have children and you want to have good children. You're looking at the wife, in this case's characteristics as well, because those influence the stats and also influence maybe how quickly she might have kids, various other things like that, whether she's trustworthy. But you can also marry for alliances. Like we have an alliance here with our father, because we're of the same dynasty. We could maybe have an alliance with the King of England if we married our son to his daughter, and then possibly get the King of England to come in on our wars. It's a little bit of a schlep, but it's not too far. We might want to pick someone within our land mass here. But those are the reasons why you marry. For good heirs, for good sons, for a perpetuation of the dynasty, and also to get alliances so that you're stronger just in general. Less likely people attack you, better chance of you killing people and winning your wars. So we click here. This is the little cheater button that they added. This was in earlier versions as well. Not the earliest version, but this kind of is what the game thinks you might want to marry to your son. A lot of it's going to be based off of these alliances. So if this flag is blue, it means this marriage would result in an alliance with someone. Let's say these gray ones would not. We would get no alliance from the marriage. So we can sort this by rank. This is a princess. Some more princesses. We could sort it by just what we want. Maybe we want to offset his horrible intrigue. Should he become ruler someday, we want him to have a wife with high intrigue. We can sort by that. We could just sort by opinion. People that like us. Maybe we just want people in our court that like us. Sorry. Once I clicked on that one thing, I lost. Even sorting by rank isn't sorting by rank anymore. Weird. There's still some bugs in this game, so I'm just going to click on this again. Darn it, did we lose it forever? Oh well, it's showing us a lot of courtiers and crap. Huh. That is a shame. We can sort by dynasty, culture, all sorts of things. But let's try to more or less get rank. There's a Princess of Hungary, so we would get an alliance with Hungary. She's from the Duchy of Transylvania. So we would get alliance with, let's say, not necessarily with Hungary, but it'll tell us. We get alliance with, yeah, we'd actually get alliance with the Prince of Hungary. We could, well, unfortunately this is the one time clicking the button doesn't work, but we can click, I don't know. More or less we get alliance over here. Pretty far away, not all that useful to us. Oh good, now it's sorted correctly. Princess of Navarra. Navarro's down there. France, Navarra. And then that's all the princesses. We can still get other alliances. Duke of Saxony. But the thing is, you kind of want to start what Crusader Kings 2 players call the eugenics program. You want to start building up a strong dynasty. Even if we don't play as him or his sons or daughters, we just want the dynasty to have really good traits. A lot of times that's going to be diplomacy. The other thing you might want to look for is geniuses. It's a great thing to get bred into the family line. It's the reason why I like starting with a character who's not married, just so I can start that eugenics program immediately. So doing it from this window will show us mainly a lot of the alliances we can get, and we can sort. Like, okay, well, she's content. She's a charismatic negotiator, which isn't bad. It's not the best. She's not a great eminence, but it's the third best, or sorry, the second best of the diplomacy focuses that each character would get. We get an alliance with the King of Navarra. I wish you could just click on the flag and go straight to Navarra. You can go here, though. So, the Kingdom of Navarra is there. They wouldn't really help us much. I don't think I'm going to marry for an alliance. I mean, we could look particularly just at the people and see if they have any children who are unmarried. Let's look at the King of England. So, he may let us marry his princess. She's 13, we'd have to wait, but we could betroth them, arrange betrothal to our son. He would say no. Why? She would lose prestige for marrying him because he's only the son of a count. But it's actually kind of close. If he liked us more, he might actually do it. And not only would we get alliance, but she might someday end up with a claim on the land that she could pass on to our children as well. Unlikely, but possible. So the other way to look is going back into this character finder again. This time what we want to look for is women who are not in prison, who are not married, who are, well, this doesn't really matter if they're a ruler or not. I don't care. If they are a ruler, he will leave our court, which is a bad thing, because then we can't really force him to do stuff anymore. His children would not be in our court, and we may want to determine who educates the children and stuff like that. Right now, I'll leave it at no. Our religion, our culture, this isn't as important. Religion is important. Culture isn't as much. I'm going to do both just in case they're like 15 and I only have to wait a couple months. And great house. If they're in a great house, there's a better chance of us gaining prestige or not losing a bunch of prestige from the marriage. Really, it's more about him. I'm going to leave this at any. And then I'm going to sort by diplomacy. Make sure we're searching all. And right off the bat, we have an Anglo-Saxon who is quick. Not bad. It's not genius, but it's pretty darn good. The other things I'm looking for, diligent is a good trait. It's not genetic. Quick is. Lustful is a good trait just to get babies popping out. But I'm mostly looking for genius. I'm going to scroll down real quick. I know what I'm looking for, so I can get to it quickly. So she's a genius, which is awesome. Her scores are very good. She's also a thrifty clerk, which gives her a boost of fertility. The highest level of this, a Midas Touch, gives a very good boost. Here it is, 15%. So, I mean, I'm kind of looking for Midas Touch. Genius is even better. And honestly, I think I might go with her. Now, she's not from a great house. There's no name here. So it's going to hurt his prestige some. She's just a courtier. That's going to hurt his prestige quite a bit as well. Something to think about. I'm going to keep scrolling just in case there's another genius. Like I said, I can see it quick. Strong is a pretty good genetic trait that gets passed on, hopefully. Martial, diplomacy, health, and fertility. Health being a really big one. But those genetic traits are always going to be to the left, so you can just kind of glance there as you scroll down. Yeah, she's not as good as the other one. She's a courtier too. Another quick, at least she's a courtier, but at least she is of a great house. She's deceitful. I don't like having deceitful people in my court. It's more likely that they're going to scheme. She might scheme against her husband, my son, as well. She's lustful, which is good. She's really not bad. I could overlook the deceitful. If she was genius, I'd probably go for her. The Fortune Builder is nice. That's that third level of stewardship. Just under Midas Touch. What were her other stats? Where did she go? Yeah, she just quit. I mean, those aren't bad, but I really think the Genius is probably going to be the way to go. Either that or her. I mean, that diplomacy score is just amazing. But the stewardship is so low. Yeah, I'm going to go for the Genius. There it is. Genius, Thrifty Clerk. None of these are really bad. Cynical, Church doesn't like it all that much, but better intrigue. Paranoid, better intrigue again. Diplomacy down a little bit, but I like that. She's a courtier, not from a good house. So what does that mean? So we have to go to diplomacy, arrange marriage between her and my son, and we can see what happens here. He, Domino, will gain 0 prestige from marrying into the house lowborn. She's lowborn. She has no house. And he'll lose 100 prestige from marrying a courtier. That's going to hurt should I die and he gets my land right away. But, you know what? I want a Genius in the family. And there we go. Now, since she's no one important, her liege is determining whether he's going to let her marry us. So we pause. We wait 14 days, and he'll say, yes, probably. Wow, already? Usually these claims do not happen that quickly. And I'm just going to check. We're at 26 minutes. This is probably a good place to end this episode. Sorry it was a little boring. But those are the things you have to deal with before you get started. On the next episode, we are going to talk about claims and what just happened, why they're important, and basically we're going to talk about war and how you go to war. So come on back soon. I look forward to seeing you soon. Bye.